So as many of you know, in the last month, I've started a new job as a high school band director, which basically means that my life is a play-by-play of the anime sound euphonium. And as my students have started to discover my alter ego, they've started to call me sensei in the classroom. And I've just basically come to terms with that's just going to be my new name moving forward. Hello all of my otaku friends, my name is Profitaku and welcome back to my channel for another manga haul. It was a lighter load this month, but we have a variety of series from 8 different publishers. There's definitely something in here for you, so stay tuned. This first section is going to be all the things that I obtained from Yen Press, and again, thanks so much to Yen Press and the team for continuing to support this channel and allowing me to review their catalog of manga to put some new things on your radar. First up, we have a conclusion to a series, Run on Your New Legs Volume 5. I read the first 2 volumes of this sports series. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I decided to go ahead and wait for the rest of the series to come out. Now that I have it complete, I'm going to go ahead and binge the whole series. Super excited for this one. Next up here is a saran wrap manga, so warning signs all over the place. We have My Mate is a Feline Gentleman Volume 1. No, I am not a furry. No, I don't necessarily like this type of romance, but here we are again. Let's go ahead and play Russian roulette with some ecchi manga, I guess. Next up is a continuation of one of my favorite ongoing series from Yen Press, and that is Kowloon Generic Romance Volume 4. If you're even considering buying this manga, I highly recommend it just due to the world that's presented in here. So many different layers, so many different flavors. You've got sci-fi, romance, and slice of life all combined into one with just a sprinkle of mystery. You cannot go wrong with this manga. Next up is a highly anticipated volume. It is Volume 3 of Coffee Moon, and if you've been keeping up with my shorts, I just posted a short on this specific volume. I highly recommend you check it out. Top 5 manga volumes that infuriated me, and well, this one is number 1 on the list. Another continuation of one of my favorite new reads of 2023, and that is Call the Name of the Night Volume 2. If I can kind of help paint a picture for this manga, it's basically a crossover between Witch Hat Atelier and Freerun Beyond Journey's End. Great life lessons to be learned in here. A really interesting world with beautiful fantasy and amazing artwork. Cannot recommend this one enough. A staple series in their catalog, we have Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 18. I'm several volumes behind on this. I think I stopped around Volume 15, but suffice to say, this is their staple series for a reason. Don't let the title fool you. Toilet Bound has nothing to do with toilets. This is a phenomenal supernatural mystery series. Lots of beautiful artwork, great characters, great action. Cannot recommend enough. Here we are with an underrated series that got a mediocre reception in Volume 1 but really blew my mind in Volume 2, and that is Shy Volume 3. If you like Western comics, you like My Hero Academia, this is the one for you. Definitely Volume 1 was a slow start and the characters were mediocre at best. But Volume 2 really picked up with our main character progressing in the story and also kind of shelling out some of the lore of this world, so I cannot wait to get into this volume. Next up is one of my personal favorites from Yen Press's catalog, and that is Shadow's House Volume 4. I absolutely love the world for this story. You have these royal shadows and these living dolls who impersonate the emotions for them. There are some really interesting character dynamics going on here. Great progression through each volume, so I cannot wait to see how much the world is explored in this volume. Here we are with one of the most anticipated Volume 1s across all the different manga publishers. We have This Summer Hikaru Died. This is a super dark, super messed up manga. I got very similar vibes to Boys Abyss, so I cannot wait to dive into this one. But this story basically follows 2 friends, and one of the friends has passed away, but one day this boy comes down who looks exactly like the deceased friend, and this other character is just trying to figure out who is this person. It seems super dark, super messed up. I love this gritty artwork, and I cannot wait to read. This is going to be an immediate one for me. Here we are with a couple of manhwa series. First up, we have The Boxer Volume 3. I did not think I was going to like this as much as I did. Volume 1 disappointed me so much because the manhwa author for this, JH, is the same person who did The Horizon, which is one of my favorite series of all time. Read the Volume 1, I was like, man, this isn't really good at all. But then Volume 2, the storytelling in it is out of this world. I am so invested in the main character and what this boxing manga is all about. So suffice to say, I'm going to be diving into this manhwa immediately. Another manhwa that's surprising me is What's Wrong with Secretary Kim Volume 2. I really did enjoy Volume 1. I like the vibes of our main characters. It follows this Secretary Kim who works with this man for like over 9 years, and then she decides one day, that's it, I am leaving, I'm starting my own life, and he doesn't doesn't understand because he's kind of the playboy, he's like the superstar. He's like, why is she leaving me? I give her a great life. And it's basically this dynamic of them trying to figure each other out, or at least he's trying to get her to come back while she's just leaving. A great short manhwa, so I highly recommend if you're looking for an office romance type of thing. Next up is a series that's on the fence. This volume is going to determine whether I cut it loose or go ahead and keep going with it. That is Touring After the Apocalypse Volume 3. I think with this manga, I'm looking for more linear storytelling instead of the episodic nature that this presents. But I think I'm going to try to approach this post-apocalyptic manga with a different viewpoint and just enjoy these two girls going around to the different landmarks in Japan. Next up is a spin-off series of one of the very popular BL mangas, Sasaki and Miyano. This is Hiranu and Kagura Volume 3. I have been stockpiling all the different kind of stories in this world, and I really just need to go ahead and read it. It's a super wholesome BL, and I do like wholesome BL instead of ecchi BL, to be honest with you. And I'm trying to explore more of this genre to give everything a chance, so this is one that's definitely on my to be read list ASAP. Next up is a super funny one. I'm very excited for this one. It says, Saint? No, I'm just a passing beast tamer Volume 1. This is a manga adaptation of a light novel series. You've got two girls on the front cover and you've got a cat. I like cats. It's super fluffy. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna like it. Next up is Volume 9 of Dead Mount Death Play. I read Volume 1. I thought it was pretty good. I need to go ahead and pick up Volumes 2 to 8, and then I can go ahead and go and binge this whole thing. I don't know where I'm gonna get them. I'll find somewhere. Here we are with the penultimate volume, Love of Kill, Volume 12. I'm gonna go ahead and wait till I get Volume 13, and then I'm going to go ahead and reread and binge the whole series. And the reason why I'm gonna go ahead and do that is because this is a very confusing story, and it's best done binge so that you can kind of connect the dots. It's like that meme of that guy with all the maps around and everything like that. That's what this story is, so that's how I recommend you read it. Next up is another manga adaptation of the light novel, and a very good manga adaptation at that. We have The Eminence in Shadow Volume 7. I love this manga adaptation because it is very funny. The artwork plays off of the jokes very well. The pacing is well done here. It definitely takes out a lot of the internal dialogue of the MC, which helps keep the story moving, and that's why I think that this manga adaptation is the way to go for this story. Here we are with Volume 5 of Bungo Stray Dogs 1. This is just basically a side story spin-off, just following the daily antics of the Armed Detective Agency. Super fun, super playful. Can't wait to get into this one. Next up is a light novel series, Volume 4 of Secrets of a Silent Witch. I have not started reading this yet, but I've only heard good things. Here we are with a memorial book slash art book. This is from Horimiya, and it contains a lot of the artwork from the different magazines and all the different bromides and promotional materials. Super excited to go through this. This looks like a very high quality release with nice paper, so this is really, really cool, and that completes my Horimiya collection. Next up are the first two volumes of a new series that I've heard very good things about, and that is No Longer Heroine. This is by Koda Sensei, and this is the same mangaka who did My Special One, publishing by Viz currently. So My Special One is taking a very interesting turn. I do like this mangaka, so I wanted to try out their other work to see if I can go ahead and buy into what they're trying to present. Next up is a manga that I picked up from Second and Charles for just a couple of bucks, so I wanted to just try it out, and that is Teasing Master Takagi-san Volume 1. I heard that this is the predecessor to Don't Toy Me Miss Nagatoro, but obviously they're in middle school. I'm curious to see if I like it, considering I do like Nagatoro. And last up from Yen Press, this is a complete series, Volumes 1 to 5. I'd never heard of it, but then one of my friends, Baz Reads Books, over on Instagram said that she was selling this set, and I was like, hey, I'll go ahead and pick it up from you, and that is Hero Tales. Now, you may recognize the artwork on here because this is from Hiromu Arakawa, and that's the same person who did Full Metal Alchemist and Silver Spoon. I really don't know anything about this, and obviously she does the artwork. I don't know how she plays into the story since there is another person who is writing the story, or what the source material is based off of, but nonetheless, it's Hiromu Arakawa. That name is right on the front cover, so of course I'm going to check it out. This next section is from one publisher, Bandai, which I've never gotten a manga from them, but this is also from Baz in the same package as Hero Tales, and that is Lucky Star, Volumes 1 to 5. Now, I have heard of this series before. It's very similar to like Non Biori and Kiniro Mosaic, slice of life 4-koma manga, very episodic, but I have been really enjoying those type of series. So when Baz was selling this, I was like, oh my goodness, I would love to pick this up and give it a shot. There are several more volumes published in English. It was never completed from my knowledge, and obviously this is very, very out of print and very expensive, so I'm just really lucky to have these first 5 volumes, and if I enjoy it, I'll go ahead and consider picking up the rest at a future date. This next section here are all the things that I picked picked up from 7 Seas. Lots of things to go over from this publisher, but first up we have a light novel, a conclusion to a series, Vivi Prototype Volume 4. I love the original anime, but of course it's an Aniplex jail, so it's very expensive. I went ahead and decided to pick up the light novel series instead because the writer is the same person who does ReZero, and obviously that's critically acclaimed. So now that I have all 4 volumes, I cannot wait to ingest this series in a light novel format. Next up is a new series. We have Soloist in a Cage Volume 1, a dystopian series. I'm a sucker for dystopian series, and I'm a sucker for short series. This is only 3 volumes long. But man, Manga Boy put this series on my radar. He said it was a super cool series, so I'm definitely taking his word for it. It's an opinion that I trust, and I think you should trust his opinion as well. Next up is one of my favorite ongoing shonen series right now, and that is Kemono Jihen Volume 6. I am really enjoying this series. Think like Bungo Stray Dogs, but with more children characters, but the cast is super funny. I love their dynamic, and I love the way that this story is progressing. Here we are with easily one of my top 3 reads of 2023, and that is Gap Papa Volume 2. This is super cute. It follows this dad who is at work a very stoic and serious person, but at home he absolutely adore and love his wife and his child, and it's super cute with full color pages, very episodic but very cute scenarios. I cannot recommend this series enough. Another series recommended to me that I wasn't going to pick up if it wasn't for the recommendation of Tony Reed's manga. We have an omnibus all-in-one collection, a story of 7 lives. This is about a bunch of cats, but it is very sad apparently, and it's like has a lot of trigger warnings of death and animal abuse. So if that's not your cup of tea, I don't recommend it, but I heard that this is a very impactful story, so I cannot wait to check this one out. But just the artwork alone looks super cute with all the kitties, so I just can't wait to read this with my cat, and then I'm gonna get really sad probably and then give him a bunch of hugs. Another ongoing shonen series, here we have Tokyo Revengers Volume 11 and 12. Of course, it's Tokyo Revengers, everybody knows it. I really love this omnibus release, and we're gonna keep going with it. A new shoujo series on the block, very highly acclaimed, and it is Last Game Volume 1, and it basically follows a couple. They're in college, and basically the whole goal is for him to get her to lose at something. Gives me very similar vibes to Kaguya-sama, Love is War, or Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. I can't wait to see what this one is about. Here we are with one of the most gritty and controversial series of all time, and that is Made in Abyss Volume 11. The manga gets a very slow release. We get about 1 of these a year, but of course I eat up that 1 volume because the story in the world is probably the best in all of manga, and the anime is nothing to snuff at either, with the beautiful music by Kevin Perkins. I highly recommend this series. It is just so cool. Another shoujo series that everybody loved Volume 1 of, we have My Girlfriend's Child Volume 2, and it follows teen pregnancy. I thought Volume 1 was super respectful and super interesting to the story, so I cannot wait to see where this volume brings us. Another Volume 2 of a shoujo series that's an absolute classic. We have Marmalade Boy in these collector's editions. I love that 7 Seas went ahead and reprinted this in an updated format, updated translations, and I really love that it's really kind of an art book. It shows all of the different artwork and stuff from the promotional materials, and that's presented throughout the volume. It's really cool. A very funny premise as well. I cannot recommend this shoujo series enough. We have one of the most anticipated new releases of the year, the omnibus edition of Homunculus. And last, this is a really gritty supernatural horror tale, and I've only heard good things from the people who have read this first omnibus edition. Super messed up, definitely pushes the boundary on what's acceptable, so we'll see how I personally think of this volume, considering I don't really like supernatural gritty horror manga. Except from 7 Seas, we have one of the nicest hardcovers on the market currently, The Girl from the Other Side Volume 3. I have not read this series yet. I feel like I'm doing such a disservice as a manga tuber. At this point, I'm just gonna wait till Volume 4 comes out, and then I'll go ahead and binge the whole thing, but I can't wait. Manga Sloth has talked very highly of this series, which is why I've picked it up. Let's dive into some smaller publishers now. From Square Enix, only 1 volume this month. That is A Man and His Cat Volume 8. If you love cats, then you're gonna like this. If you like music, you're gonna like this. But if you like a very wholesome slice of life story, you're gonna like this one. I've thoroughly been enjoying this manga. It is super fun, and of course I like the fat cat. Reminds me of my fat cat, so yeah, we're gonna read this immediately. From Tokyo Pop, next up is a series that highly disappointed me from the volume 1. Man, it is hurting my heart. I really don't know if I'll continue on if volume 2 is not good, which sucks because it's one of my favorite mangaka of all time, and this is Sengoku Yoko. This is from Satoshi Mizukami, the same mangaka as Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer and Spirit Circle. This is their longest running series at like 26 volumes, one of the most critically acclaimed series, but I don't know, volume 1 just really was not good. Super slow, super boring, seems super stereotypical. I'm trusting Satoshi Mizukami in his world building from his previous series, so we'll see what happens. From Kodansha / Vertical, we have 4 volumes here. First up, a new series. We have Madaka Kuroa is Impervious to My Charms. This series follows this girl right here. She's the super popular pretty girl. Everybody loves her, and she's trying to charm this boy right here who's actually from a monastery, so he's like has a very religious view set. However, he actually likes her, and so he's trying to like control his emotions, and it's a really funny dynamic. We'll see how this first volume turns out in this comedy romance series. An ongoing series here, we have volume 4 of Shonen Note Boy Soprano. I really enjoyed volume 3. It brought the main thing back to being the main thing. It's a music manga following a boy who is a soprano singer, and he's starting to go through puberty, so his voice is starting to change. This is an 8-volume series, so after this volume we'll hit that halfway point. I'm very curious to see where we're gonna go from here. And last up, from Kodansha Vertical, I finally got volumes 2 and 3 to complete this series of The Golden Sheep. I love this mangaka's one-shot, The Gods Lie, and I've had volume 1 of this series for the longest time, but I did not want to spend a lot of money on it. I also found these manga at Second and Charles for like a couple bucks each, so what a great way to finish off the series. Last but not least, we have Viz Media here, and first up is a complete series, volumes 1 to 7 of Behind the Scenes. Now you may recognize this artwork because this is the same mangaka who did Ouran High School Host Club, and I was really interested in this series from the premise. It's not a stereotypical shoujo romance series. It follows a boy who is in this kind of behind the scenes productions club, but this boy joins what they call the art squad, and it's him going through different productions and doing all the behind the scenes work. So I'm really interested in this series. It doesn't have the highest rating in the world, so I'm curious about what's wrong with the storytelling, but at least the premise is a little bit different from the shoujo romance category, so I'm interested to see how this one turns out. Next up is one of my favorite rom-com series going on right now, and that is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible Volume 8. A lot of people say, man, this is just very stereotypical, very boring, very monotonous, but for me, what makes this series great are the cast of characters. I love all of them. I think they have something to contribute to this story about this girl who notices this boy who is invisible to his classmates but not her, and they spark a friendship, and of course they like each other. But this is super adorable, and I cannot wait to dive into this volume. Another volume that I talked about in my YouTube short about 5 manga volumes that infuriated me, we have Dr. Stone Volume 6. This is the final volume, and well, yeah, it's a thing. Next up here is Kaiju number 8, number 7. I feel like in the cog of Shonen Jump manga, this is one I normally wouldn't like because it's more of a dark and gritty type of battle shonen manga, but I thoroughly had enjoyed the first 4 volumes, so now that I have a stockpile of 3, I'll go ahead and read these 3 and make my decision of whether I'm going to keep collecting this physically. Now next up is a crazy Shonen Jump series, and that is Dan Da Dan Volume 4. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 3 volumes. This absolutely blows my mind. I love battle shonen manga like this. It's just crazy, blows your mind, out of the box craziness. That's what I want from these type of manga. Now here's a gritty seinen series that I have absolutely been loving as of late, and here we are with Alice in Borderland Volume 5. This fills in the hole that I had last month. I had picked up Volume 6, I had skipped over Volume 5, now I have Volume 5 and I can go ahead and continue with this series. Here's a new shoujo beat series. We have Like a Butterfly Volume 1. From what I had heard, this is like a 12-13 volume series. This is the same mangaka as A Sign of Affection. There's definitely some storytelling problems from what other people have told me. I'm going to keep an open mind with this. this, but of course I want to be able to purchase this to support the shoujo community and continue to get more shoujo manga in the industry. Last up here from the Shonen Jump line, we have Tista Volume 2 from the creator of Spy Family, just a short 2-volume series. If you'd like to read my thoughts on this with no spoilers, I did an Instagram post kind of describing my overall thoughts on the series before you go ahead and purchase this yourself. And last but not least, we have another shoujo manga series. We have Honey and Clover Volume 1. This is a 10-volume series, the same mangaka as March Comes In Like a Lion. This is their previous work. I found this at Second and Charles, so I decided to just go ahead and pick this up for a couple bucks. I don't plan on collecting this because it is very out of print and very expensive, but I just wanted to see what this is about and see maybe I'll continue reading this online. And that is it for my July manga haul. I hope you enjoyed the variety of series, and hopefully now that work has kind of died down with Bandcamp being over, I can finally go back to reading and making more consistent videos, and once the school year starts, I hope I can continue with that momentum. As always, if you enjoy the content on my videos, make sure you hit that like button, tap the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.